Well, it was just a whirlwind, just the most intense and exhilarating period of my life. The first album came out in July 2024 and things just exploded. 1 billion streams in the first month, the Tiny Desk concert getting 100 million views, that appearance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, such a sweetheart. Tay-Tay bringing me out at Glastonbury, those long phone calls with Stevie Nicks, jamming with Joni, showed her a thing or two. I really felt like their peers, you know. And the shows, just such a joy. 15 nights at Madison Square Garden, 20 nights at Wembley, headlining Coachella, the Grammys, the Brit Awards, the Platinum Discs. Oh, and don't forget the Oscar. I mean, it's nice to be recognised, but they really just don't mean a thing to me. It's about making music and films that people connect with, you know? A Girl Can Dream. It is the 1st of July 2024 and my debut album, Super Sexy Heartbreak, is officially out on all streaming services today. It's 11 months since I began releasing the album track by track, 17 months since I started recording it, and a lifetime since I started working on it. They say that you have a lifetime to write your first album and then just 2 years for your second. I know many of you are on your own musical journeys, writing and releasing your own songs, so I thought it would be interesting to do a little debrief, tell you what went right, what went wrong, and whether I even want to continue making music at all, or just pivot to live streaming me reading the phone book. So stick around and let's get into it. The birth of Super Sexy Heartbreak goes back to my Songbook acoustic double album. That's the 18 songs I recorded over the COVID lockdowns and released in December 2021 and February 2022. I just wanted to get those songs out into the world and test the reception that they got from you, my audience, before committing to choosing the best material to form a full studio album. The sales of that project gave me the budget to produce my debut. It also helped me predict the demand, so I could plan accordingly. I spent 18 months from March 2022 to June 2023 recording with my producer Pau, who also mixed the entire record, hiring the wonderful Aaron Sterling and Sean Hurley as my rhythm section, and finally Chris Geringer on mastering. Now, 18 months sounds like a long time, but that was also interweaved with travel and making a ton of videos for this YouTube channel. I wanted to use the record as a bit of an experiment. I have spoken in a couple of videos about this modern devaluing of music, where it's gone from something to be cherished and pored over to being something you save on your phone and you get around to if you remember, fighting for attention from all the podcasts, YouTube videos, doom scrolling. You get my drift. So many amazing artists with much bigger profiles than me release albums that just seem to pass me by without really grabbing my attention. Conventional wisdom is that these days you shouldn't bother with albums. No one listens to whole albums anymore. It's all about single tracks and getting onto playlists and music for the gym or the beach or TikTok, so they say. Singles are supposedly the secret recipe for more listener engagement. You are encouraging the algorithm with consistent releases. These platforms favour regular updates, and you're giving your fans more music on a regular basis and keeping them interested. It's a second bite of the apple, more rolls of the dice, kicks of the can, bites of the dice, roll of the apple. We are all fighting for that little sliver of attention because there is just so much out there. The billionaire villain / Spotify CEO Daniel Ek caused something of a firestorm recently with a series of poorly worded tweets where he stated the cost of creating content is close to zero. Today, with the cost of creating content being close to zero, people can share an incredible amount of content. This has sparked my curiosity about the concept of long shelf life versus short shelf life. Ek quickly issued an apology after finding himself attacked from all angles by musicians of all levels. I understand how it came across as very reductive, and that wasn't my intent. Just to clarify, my original point was not to devalue the time, effort, or resources involved in creating meaningful works, whether it's music, literature, or other forms of creative expression. He's right that most of us are lucky enough to have a smartphone or a computer. You can buy a very cheap instrument, and yes, it's possible to make music on a laptop with free software. But good work is rarely cheap, and cheap work rarely good. Making music requires investment. The biggest expense in making any kind of creative work is the time spent getting good at it, which is hard to quantify. All in, drumroll please, I spent about £25,000 or $31,000 on recording, session musicians, mixing, mastering, and artwork for the album and singles. That just gets me the files. So I spent a further £6,000 on CD manufacturing, £5,000 on vinyl production, and about £600 so far on cassette tapes. Pre-order still available. So we're looking at just under £12,000 or $15,000 to produce the physical media in the dead format of your choosing. Why do you do all that? I hear you typing furiously in the comments section. Physical media is dead. Streaming is here to stay. Get with the program, get big numbers on streaming, and you'll convert that into touring money, t-shirt money. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in a niche. You will fail at business, you will die, and so on. Well, by doing as suggested and releasing a track a month for 11 months, I did indeed grow my streaming numbers from about 40,000 to 55,000 people, an increase of 36.2%. I have just over 84,000 listeners in my total audience on Spotify. Only 5% of these are active audience, 51% are previously active, and 43% are what they call a programmed audience. That's the people who might have heard my music in a playlist but haven't engaged with me in any other way. I did try out Spotify's marquee campaign feature for Do You Want to Play over 10 days in December, which it says reached 3,751 people, 488 of whom actually clicked on it, and 299 who actually streamed it, an average of 1.5 times. This cost $185, so essentially I paid about 40 cents per stream, but each stream earned me approximately a third of a cent. Spotify tells me my release engagement is about 5.3% of my almost 27,000 followers. If streaming is supposed to be this magic data-driven solution that pushes out my music to people who should like it, then it doesn't seem to be doing a good job. Why isn't this just 100%? No one likes your music, love. Shut up. And what about artists' compensation? This info comes from my DistroKid account. Bear in mind it's on a 3-month delay from all the streaming platforms, not just Spotify. I will earn, averaging these statistics, somewhere in the region of $886 by the end of this year. So if this had been my only release plan, I would have made a significant loss. I will say that physical copies saved the day. You saved the day. Every single one of you who bought your copy of my record in all these historic formats helped me prove the current music industry wrong. I've dreamt of making a record since I was 6 years old. It's a pleasure for me to hold something real. I can't hold my videos, but I can hold my music. And we are over here building our own music business, one that actually works and is a feasible business plan for future artists to replicate. If I can do it, then why can't you? And I'm not sharing this information to say how wonderful I am. I am not a huge success by any means. I didn't get any mainstream reviews. I'm not selling out big venues. I'm not on the radio as far as I know. And I'm not viral on TikTok. But the point I really hope to drive home is that success doesn't have to be measured in billions or even millions. Kevin Kelly's rule of 1,000 true fans is exactly what I focused on. And it actually worked. We should not be dictated by platforms like Spotify who insist that theirs is the only way. The modern music industry, for 99% of us, is all about community building. All you have to do is find a tiny percentage of the world's population who like what you do and believe in you, and you're winning. So my takeaways, to be honest, I think my business plan will be repeated for album number 2. Which is in the works, but is another mountain to climb. With the help of my audience, my true fans, I'll self-fund again through making Songbook Volumes 3 and 4. I'll make the record I have full creative control over. I'll hire my dream set of musicians and pay them what they're worth. I'll run pre-orders of CDs, vinyls and cassette tapes over the course of a year. I'll release a digital download on Bandcamp, and maybe I'll delay releasing the entire thing on streaming services. I'm undecided as for now. But most importantly, I'll continue to be realistic. Maybe Super Sexy Heartbreak had more gravitas as it was my debut studio album. Maybe I'll fizzle out. Maybe you won't keep watching. So many ifs. I've also always felt that when I look back on my life, I want to know that I did everything I could to prioritize fulfilling my creative potential, because that is what I'm most proud of. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this useful. Please do comment below and tell me what you think, and maybe give the old album a spin. There are links in the description to all the physical copies. But of course, I will be seeing you here again very, very, very soon.